But without further ado, I'm going to bring in MLB moving averages. Welcome, John. How you doing?
Nick, I'm really nervous, man. I'm really nervous. And let me tell you, the way I am, I'm very hard to rattle, to frazzle. And that I feel so alive. Man, I'm afraid I'm going to face plant on this. I worked really, really hard. I've worked really hard on this. But I feel like I kind of built a skyscraper maybe a little bit too fast. And I'm hoping the wind doesn't blow it over, man. I am really excited for what happens.
Hey, listen. This is for PitchCon. Everyone's just here to talk about baseball. You're going to talk about some great stuff about quality starts and wins and how we can maybe improve that. I think it's going to be a fantastic panel, and it's all for a good cause, right? Doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
Look, if you go down, it's for a good cause.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter.
And hopefully those people go down eating.
If you don't know John, you should definitely be listening to Cork Stats, his podcast with Fade the Noise. You've seen his work, obviously, at The Athletic as well. Yeah. I'm sure there are many other things that I'm forgetting that I should be giving you credit for right now.
It's fine.
But he's a Yankee fan, and that's all that matters. And that's not a green screen, is it? Is that just...
No. It's a photo backdrop. No, I haven't got to the green screen yet.
You actually just have a photo of baseballs.
Those look really good. Yeah, they're actually... That's what I was doing. I was stacking baseballs in a three-dimensional puzzle type thing. No, come on. We gotta get to work.
All right, let's go. Okay, you gotta share your screen, and I'll push it up.
How do I do? I have to share the screen?
Yeah, I don't have your presentation.
And there's the face plant.
So you got... No.
Oh, wait.
You just gotta click share at the bottom.
Share the screen.
And then you share it.
The entire screen. Why not?
And then you gotta click the button that says...
All right, friends share the entire screen. I wouldn't only share half a screen. We're friends. Let's share the whole screen. So now you should probably see the same thing anyway, right?
Yep, and then get rid of that button at the bottom.
What? Whoa! That's crazy! I don't know what to do now.
Click hide at the bottom.
Hide?
Very bottom.
Okay, hide.
Click that hide.
Yeah.
Then you gotta go to your presentation. Get out of StreamYard here.
Oh, goodness! What?
Where's your presentation?
That's my first screen. Is that, you see that?
Yeah, we see that.
Okay, let's just get going. Right?
Oh, you're gonna do photos over and over.
Yeah. I have a little slideshow that's gonna go with my argument. Yeah.
All right, you got this, John. It's all you.
Okay, here we go, everybody. Man, could not be more excited. Like Nick said, right now I'm over at FTN Fantasy, and right now it's all free. Big thanks to those guys. That's Kevin, that's Jeff, that's Brad, and that's Elliot for kind of letting me have the freedom to let my freak flag fly and just kind of go nuts and bring as much different kind of content as I can. Like Nick said, I got the Cork Stats podcast going, positional previews. I have some expert interviews going on, and I'm going to do a show every single day through the season. Forget all that. Let's get to what we're doing. Oh, cannot forget to thank the good men and women at Pitcher List. Aside from the great content, they're giving back to the community. And, these two guys, Nick and Alex in particular, take their personal time to help people like myself when, I really didn't have anything or anyone or any platform, and they're all really great guys. Would be remiss if I left out how well represented Brooklyn is here today. And, that's where I want to start my story. Believe it or not, my Brooklyn experience is a baseball experience, right? And my baseball experience is a Brooklyn experience. And one of my favorite stories, it's from my great aunt Josephine, and you would have loved it, that little 4-foot-tall Italian lady who watched baseball screaming at the TV. But she used to tell me a story about New York City in the 50s. And, so this is the height of the Yankees against the Dodgers, right? The battle in New York, just every single year being waged. She would tell me that you could run your errands on 13th Avenue in Bensonhurst during the game because every single house had the game on the radio outside, as did the store. And you could run your entire errand and not miss a pitch. That's how involved everyone is. And if you're wondering what this story has to do with it, this story has to do with passion and the love of baseball. And I wanted to get that out there first because right now we're in this age of very cold analysis sometimes. It's very objective. And, I want people to realize that behind the cold numbers and spreadsheets, there's a deep-rooted love of the game. So before I spend the next half an hour just kind of gutting our favorite thing in the whole world, fantasy baseball, I want you to know that it comes from a place of love And really, it's almost like a parenting thing for me. I don't hate it and want change. I want to correct it because I love it. So that being said, let's jump right into it. I got notes. We're going to make an argument here, everybody. This presentation is called Losing the Win, a categorical shift in fantasy baseball. And if you notice the very serious tenet to my voice as it changes, because this topic is really serious to me. I am a nefarious goofball. I love to joke. I'm always laughing. A couple of near-death experiences just might make you appreciate every day. That being said, man, I love life and I live for every experience, but I also want to leave it better than the way I found it. It's kind of part of being a good person, Zen, putting things out into the universe, however you want to put it. Let's get down to the task at hand. Fantasy baseball in these last few years. We noticed that there was a problem, in particular with the win category. And you know what? It's funny. We all kind of ignored it, together. And nowhere else in the game of fantasy baseball do we reward poor performance at all, right? If a ball is hooked foul just before the foul pole, it's not a home run. You don't get almost a save for getting 2 outs before giving up a game-losing home run. It just doesn't work that way. And even to take it a step further, the rules are geared for that also. Think about, right, unearned runs don't affect ERA and errors don't affect batting averages, right? So there are these kind of stopgaps in place to keep the stats from failing, but not for the win. I mean, just not for the win at all. If we're in points leagues head-to-head, but it can go anyway into Roto. But think about how unjust it is. You're up against a starting pitcher. He gives up 8 runs. He gets a win. Your guy went out scoreless 7 innings, and he didn't get the win. He might have even lost. If in head-to-head this happens on a Sunday, it could cause you to lose the game, which could cause you to miss the playoffs, which could cause you to lose the championship. This is really kind of fundamentally unjust. And I think even more so, it's really kind of ironic because as analysts and fans, or fantasy baseball GMs, we are often faced with the how should I put it? How little of this game we can control. And, that's kind of a constant. I think most people would agree. What's funny, the irony is that we do control the scoring, right? That's arbitrary up to a certain point, and we do control it. It's 100% up to us to fix. Yet, we spend all of our time trying to perfect the things out of our control and seemingly none of our time and effort to correct the things that we can change. So I had to ask the question, really, why did we settle on this? Was it a commitment to tradition, let's say, where perhaps we blinded by our adoration of the game? When something is so perfect, we don't want to criticize it, lest we lose its love, right? Maybe we didn't have a viable replacement. I mean, that's realistic, right? That's part of it. Maybe it's all of the above. But regardless of the cause for inaction, right? The years passed and the game changed. We saw the inception and then the acceptance of the opener, which has basically completely changed the fundamental structure of a rotation. So, I mean, as the game is fundamentally changing, it's at least worth visiting a review of the scoring, right? I thought that was really important. Some people tried this already to replace the win. Bless their heart, for speaking out against the masses, only to be deemed, heretical conspiracists, or whatever the case may be. They tried to use quality starts, which is a good idea in that it's performance-based. However, it fails when you test backwards for a couple reasons. We're going to get into the performance part a little bit later, but what I'm going to be doing here today is kind of getting granular and really quantifying some of the parts of the win that we don't know because no one cares to look. And I think it's because we don't want to know what's under the hood. You see your walls start to bubble in the paint and you think, I could just live with the bubble. But in reality, there's water there that may cause mold. There's a deeper rooted issue that really needs to be addressed. Lastly, the problem with quality starts is they were too prevalent. There were too many of them, which again, is a problem. We want a certain degree of rarity, right? When we're grading these things, it's supposed to be a measure of excellence, let's say, or at the very least performance. So that's a little bit of the background, where it started and like what happened. Now I kind of want to get to the legal case, right? Because that's what we're doing here. That's what I'm doing here. I'm trying to convince you and your commissioners and your friends at CBS and NFBC and all these other places to please reconsider the game that we love so much. So as we visit the legal case, right, we want to shine a light on the fact that the win is unfair. I think we've already done that. I mean, there isn't much of a pushback against it. We'd like to showcase how often it fails and why. And then if we can replace it, like for me, that would make the solid, legal argument. When I talk about trying to have an objective stance and not give anybody a backdoor or an escape route out of here. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to get down to the win, the machinations of the win, why it fails, how often it fails. And then I'm going to replace the win today with a wholly data-backed replacement. I mean, yeah, wow. That's why I was shaking in my chair and talking a million miles a minute as always, because there's just so much work to get to. I'm going to really try and get you through all of this. And if we do happen to get this in before the time limit, I've got some really, really cool graphs and visualization kind of aids to see this stuff. I mean, I'm telling you, when we're done here, we're going to slam the door on the win. Let's get right down to it. I mentioned paint on a wall. I have a background in commercial building. I was a commercial electrician with the New York City Union. I used to really, adventurous, kind of exciting, dangerous work that I'm no longer able to do. Another story for another day. But the best analogy, what I'm mentioning is, we call it a rip out, a full rip out. What that means is you have we're going to tear it down to the frames and we're going to completely rebuild it, because that's all that's left of what we have to use here is the frames. We want to completely rework it. And why? Even if the finished product ends up looking like the original product, you'll have the confidence of what's going on behind the walls. No sparking wires, no mold and the like. All right, let's get down to business. Whoever's been following my work, has seen I've taken a stab at dethroning the win. And, right now it's still sitting on the Iron Throne, kind of laughing at me. But what didn't kill me has only made me stronger. And, I'm here to change that. So the whole process really started in my home league, super competitive, which is funny. Again, another conversation for another day. Industry leagues versus high stakes versus home leagues. I would tell you what, with the speed of information and the availability now, some of these home leaguers are as sharp as anybody, that we know. So the competition is there. The money was there, of course. We play for fun, but there's money involved. And the money is only enjoyable when it's fair. If I'm going to rub your face and beating you and fill a trophy with your tears and shower myself in it and bathe in the tears, of your defeat, the game's got to be fair. If you're going to come back and complain that it wasn't on the level, then those tears just are not going to be as sweet as they normally would taste. So long story short, it was a head-to-heads league. We were rewarding quality starts and we were rewarding points. And quality starts were here and wins were here. And through the years, via vote, they began to equal. And then the quality start eventually took over. Again, being performance-backed, being a little more valid. Yes, it has its flaws. In my opinion, it's far less flawed than the win. But where points are really nice is you can really kind of articulate exactly how you want that to fall. The task for Roto, was that mountain was a lot taller. It was a lot larger kind of hill to traverse for me. I welcome the challenge because I feel like I got the goods. I brought the receipts to this argument, and we are going to get there. So as far as Roto goes, I wanted to change, how we were scoring it, just because I wanted to make it more fair. I would love to not do any work, put my feet up on the couch and watch Disney Plus with the kids. That's kind of what I do best. But I had a job out in front of me. So again, if you followed my work, I came across the money start. My idea was, in the age of shortened distance on the macro and the micro level, to try and identify 7-inning outings at the very least. Now, I'm not going to run you through all the workings of that money start article. You can find it and look at it. The reason I'm kind of not brushing it off is because I end up revisiting it here I end up having to correct the money start. So if you don't know anything about it, you might even be better off, because I'd like everybody to just, let's restart. Let's hit that reset button. Let's start again. So now this new money start, very easy to remember. 7 innings pitched with 2 earned runs, or 8 innings pitched with 3 earned runs. Of course, there are pluses there. So +8 includes 9 and above, and +7 includes, 7 1/3, 7 2/3. And now when you think about those starts, wow, those are excellent starts. 7 2 minimum is a fantastic start. So the money start ended up being really, really useful for player analysis, for fantasy in particular, and even more so, one of the reasons I really was looking to quantify those starts was because best ball for one, or even in fantasy, we see a season-long player card, right? We see season stats, but in there's hills and valleys. And in the world of streaming or best ball, where you only need to make that one hit, I wanted to know who puts up those best starts the most often. I mean, it's pretty intuitive, but no one had done the work before. So I went and did the work, and I crunched out all the money starts. And like I said, I was happy with it on a player analysis basis. Identifying and isolating distance in this environment, I mean, it's paramount. I don't think we can overstate just how important it is. But it wasn't solving the problem for Roto. And now you'll look at slide 1, and you'll see what I mean. So I have all the SP wins for the past 4 seasons. And then next to it, the corresponding money starts for that year. So as effective as money starts are at describing the best individual starts on a per-game basis, they're not nearly prevalent enough. I mean, these, just from an eyeball, they're all less than half. Some are probably 60% less than the win. So that was pretty much a swing and a miss from a money start standpoint as far as Roto goes. Now, side note for point league commissioners, this sounds like the answer. You could just delineate the points and really reward starters for what we're researching, which is performance and quality starts, not to misuse the overused term. So there you have why money start failed in the first place. Natural response to something that is not happening enough would be to expand the parameters. That was my instinct, and so that's kind of what I went for. The first thing that jumped off the page for me, at least, was when I thought back on, I said a money start is 7 innings with 2 earned runs. And I thought, why did I eliminate 7 innings with 3 earned runs? Like, that's a pretty good start. And I had to actually go back on my work. And it turns out, and you'll see here, let me get to the next slide, that if you could see, I isolated specifically 7+ with 3 runs specific outcomes. I've referred to them in the past as DROs, distance run outcomes. Sometimes, we have so many abbreviations, but we also, if you say all these things out, and I'm going to run out of the time and just describing the thing. So look at the win percentages on these outcomes. They're all extremely low. I'm really taking 2020 with a grain of salt. Not only are they low, we want to point to the precipitous drop-off year over year, right, in that. And that was the basis. It failed. I had preset parameters, and one of them, I wanted rarity, distance, and correlation to win percentage. That was part of my original formula. Looking back, as far as Roto, doesn't really make sense to include the thing we're trying to eliminate in the formula. So, I'm kind of kicking myself a little bit, because, the standard, if we're talking about performance, would be earned run average, right? And if you look at the earned run average for 7+ and 3 earned, it ranges, of course, because there are a few different outcomes, between 352 and 386, both below, that it's not just a psychological level of 4. 4 also represents an above average, or it's slightly above. It is technically above average. We don't like to think of it as desired, but that's perfect for this definition, to use 4 as the cutoff. So immediately I'm thinking to myself, we probably need to add those in. Still not enough. Now we have to get to the win itself. So people who listen to Cork Stats and, other of my varying work, know I always, there has to be a mention of Eric Bren every time I seem to take the air. Briefly, Eric Bren, if you remember him, was the man on the Ed Sullivan Show. Or if you're a little bit younger, he was on the Gong Show and he used to spin these bowls on plates, 8, 10, 12, 15 at a time. The point being, the bowl spins until it doesn't. If you make it back to the bowl before it falls off, you can keep it spinning. The same works for ideas, and it's one of my favorite analogies for complex thinking. At the speed that I talk, sometimes it comes off scattered, but part of this next level of critical thought is balancing different ideas. So right now, we need to table where we are right now. We have the money start being successful for player analysis. We also know that we should have included 7 innings with 3 earned runs, 7, 7 1/3, 7 2/3. Okay. On to the win. How it fails, why it fails, and how much it fails. So the win is pretty bad. All right, that's it. Nick, have a nice night. No. Let's start at the accepted, right? So the accepted part, I coined the phrase, right? The bullpen is where wins go to lose, right? You lose wins in the bullpen. Now, that's kind of understood. I don't think we could set out trying to eliminate that. Shouldn't be our goal, wouldn't be my goal, and it isn't my goal here today, right? But there is a level of loss in bullpens. So even though I'm talking about it, it's just because we're going to count it, but I'm trying not to stress it. The next part really is the critical part. I wanted to determine undeserved wins. Undeserved wins. Now, this has never really been done before. So again, I find myself kind of as the tip of the spear, trying to pioneer something, which I get if I'm used to. I mentioned the face plant, which is a normal part of trying to figure stuff out. I'm wrong more than I'm right, and that's what I love about baseball so much. So back to undeserved wins. My first thought, again, was the distance. And I thought, all right, anything less than 6 innings pitched should probably be considered undeserved. However, under this new lens, this new emphasis on ERA, that really shouldn't be the case at 3 runs. But for 5.0, 5.1, and 5.2, with only 2 runs, you still have a sub-4 ERA. So we're not going to count those. I want to be as meticulous as possible in this argument because I do not want to leave the people on the other side a place to wiggle out, like I said. So we're not counting 5 innings, 5 1/3, 5 2/3 with 2 runs. Count. They won't be scored, but they won't be penalized. Okay? The pitcher went out and did his job, but again, just compared to the field, that's not enough distance to score it. Keep that little ball spinning. We're going to circle back to that in a minute. Let's go beyond. So the ERA 5+ with 3 earned is a fail. We talked about 6 earned with 3+ is a fail. And anything at 7+ with 4 or more is also now a fail. Under this now new kind of umbrella, I was calling this the new quality start because I'm discarding the old quality start outright. It means nothing to me other than it was a framework that we once had that now to me is, should go the way of the dodo. It no longer serves a purpose. To these new quality starts. So now we've added 6+, 6.1, and 6.2 with 2 or less, and +7 with 3 or less. Those would be our new quality starts. These are now also starts that imply at least 6 innings. Again, we're going to get to the distance. But more importantly for right now, imply a sub-4 ERA. Okay, let's take a look now at what happens. So from left to right, UND is undeserved, lost is lost, and then we put them together. Okay, let's kind of compartmentalize these things. Let's get through this board analysis. Just lickety split. year over year. Let's eliminate the noise. Let's call it 10%. 10% of all wins every year are undeserved. And then if you look at the middle column, the reliever, the losses, not only are they high, right? And if we were to average it, we're probably at about 35%. Just as important to notice the drop. It's 3 to 5% drop every year. Drop, or gain, depending on how you're looking at it. Now, if you shoot all the way to the yellow bars in these sheets are really probably the most pertinent point, right? The focal point. Man, we're talking about half of all wins are lost. Just lost. Just like a total waste. And to be honest, in this case, lost may be better than the waste because those undeserved ones are where people start getting burned or people start getting upset because it's not anyone's fault except for the rule maker, right? And it's not to point the finger at the commissioner or the websites that host, but just the overarching, the royal rule maker, you need to revisit these things. To me, it's clear as day when you're at half of your desired outcomes are a waste, then for me, that should pretty much demarcate like where we put our foot down. Okay, that was the bowl of wins. I want to head back, excuse me, I want to head back to the topic at hand. And where we left off with the money start, the first failure was what we mentioned before. Sorry. And the second mistake here was that arbitrary assignment of 6 innings. Now we're going to kind of get to the distance. I thought to myself, wow, in the age of diminishing distance, right, 6 innings has got to be something we want to highlight, and it should be, that kind of parameter, the prerequisite or whatever, however you want to put it. And man, when I went and kind of back tested my work, it turns out that was probably a mistake, and like I'm here to admit it, and that's kind of why I breezed through it. But again, sometimes these journeys of a million miles begin with one step, but sometimes it begins with a step several times. You feel like you're going around in circles looking at the same fork again and again. But such is life, and it's that kind of intestinal fortitude, whatever you want to call it, that stick-to-itiveness, that separates us. So I knew it needed to be changed, and I'm not giving up, people. I ain't giving up. So, I came back. So I revisited distance, and, to my surprise, I was wrong. Let's take a look. What I was referring to is how many games, or I guess I should say at what rate do pitchers accomplish 6+? And, in 2017, it was 50%. And a drop. There was another one of those drops. Really, I think a running theme throughout all of these boards is the precipitous drop year over year. I mean, no breaks in that chart. Sell, get out, run for your life. That's a stock chart. Sell it, run for your life. From 50 down to 46, down to 42. Again, I'm kind of chucking 2020 out the window. The set is just way too small. We're talking about a 15,000 plus sample that gave us 47%. I'm not going to jump for 6% of that. I'm not going to do that. But what this board should highlight for all of us is just how rare the completion of 5-fold getting through the 6th, means. It matters now. And I think more so when we look at the more recent eras, once you're at a 43% kind of accomplishment rate, to me, that, could easily fill the first parameter because, again, the start that we're talking about has two has two heads, right? It has to go a certain distance, but also a certain amount of runs. So neither one of them have to be perfect. That'd be like saying you have to go 9 innings or you have to give up no runs. No, we're trying to find the middle where these things balance out and give you a proper performance that justifies the research, right, and the talent and production of the player on the field. So that was kind of a bit of a smack for me to see something just so kind of obvious feeling, that wow, that like 6 innings is a decent accomplishment, actually, to get into the 6th. And to circle back to the mini bowl I was talking about, let's look at this chart. It's the ERA breakdown by outcome in the 6th inning. And you'll see why I lopped off that 3rd run, because here it was a mixture of Right? This is like literally the borderline. So that's why it was the two pillars kind of meeting, and me having to kind of stop and revisit and then circle back. So again, it not to oversimplify, it just seems intuitive. Not only that, but you get this clean break at the 4 ERA mark. And I think one of the things I noticed looking at this board was how much more impactful a run is than getting like the extra outs, right? You kind of get through the inning, you get a couple more outs, and that ERA on the start just drops a couple bips where, you give up the run and now boom, you're in a whole another level. So I wanted to point that out, but more importantly was to kind of quantify why this third earned run fails. And you could think of it as why it fails in the old quality start formula, or why it would fail by these kind of new rules that I've drawn up, right? So I feel like we've now validated. Well, the money start kind of validates itself, but now I feel that we've validated these new quality starts. They all fit. We didn't have to kind of compromise our integrity or satisfaction, let's say, with the outing. If the worst possible outing we're allowing here is 6 flat and 2 earned, it's a damn good start, and it's a quality start by today's standards. So if you were happy then, you should be happy with it now. All right, let's cut that right there for a second. And now just stop. Let's go up 30,000-foot view, and let's kind of compartmentalize, because again, I know I can be scrambled, but I assure you there's a method to this madness. Okay, so now we have the money start, basket A, and we kind of have these new quality starts, basket B. Remember, I mentioned one of the failings with the quality start as currently constituted, was the prevalence. It just happened too often and allowed for poor outcomes. And in that case, you're not going to convince anybody to change a 50-year-old game with 5 million players with tens of millions of dollars on the line. You're going to have to be more convincing than that. But I feel that we are. And I want to drive another nail into the coffin of the win right now. So remember, people, think money starts and now think new quality starts. If you are a point league commissioner, there are your 2 tiers. 10 points for one, 5 points for the other, or 4. You guys figure it out. You vote on it. Lose the QS, lose the win outright. Grade your starts the way they should be. To the Roto purists, to my Roto familia, we got your money starts. We got our new quality starts. We're going to combine them into the plus start. Okay, that's why I wasted the bad name. I used my no imagination on naming the quality start, the new quality start. But now the plus start is going to be good. And I know, I want these names to be workable. We want it to be, not to say hip, but it's got to flow. So you could say, how'd he go? He got the plus start. Or I've talked about this with friends. My friend of mine just calls it a 6-2, which sounds pretty cool, like a street term, he went out and he gave it a 6-2. So you hit that plus start. Where am I getting at with now was those totals. Here we go. Let's check it out, people. Right? Our first basket of new quality starts, our second basket, give us our total of new quality starts. Look at those totals. It turns out this small kind of slice of the outcome pie is responsible for, let's call it a fifth, right? Lose 2020. Let's call it a fifth of all outcomes. Next slide. Boom. Boom. There's your kaboom, people. That's it. It's over. We know all that's left is the crying. You have your SP wins. In total, this is the number that we use, okay? I've showed you it's flawed. I've showed you how often it's flawed and why it's flawed. It's not fair. I redefined it, gave you the money start, gave you a subset, the new quality start. We're going to smush them together. We get the plus start. Look at those totals. Talk about parity of occurrence. Not only do we have a parity now, you even get a couple more plus starts. The most important thing, wholly data backed. Every single one of my starts, every single one of your starts that you researched, that you got your 6-2, gets counted in the books, okay? And that's the way it should be. That's the way it has to be. It's our responsibility, if we're going to be fundamentally honest, right, as the gatekeepers of fantasy baseball, to identify, to detect and not just identify and detect, but to correct the inefficiencies in the system. This is a systemic problem. It is a cause of great inequality. And more importantly, it upsets the competitive balance. I mean, that is what we're doing here. That's the whole point, right? That's the cup full of tears. That's the cash. That's the bragging. That's the victory laps on Twitter. That's the whole kit and caboodle. It's the whole shebang. We've been told it couldn't be done. We've been told that the occurrence patterns couldn't be met. We've been told, well, that's just the way it is. That last one, that's the only leg that we've left them to stand on now. Okay, I told you we were going to show you it was unfair, and we did. How often it was unfair, and we did. I told you we were going to provide a replacement. We did, and I gave you the objective, data-backed basis of this. Okay, I hate to be so brash about it. It's part of my persona, I guess. I wear my Brooklyn on my sleeve. But again, back to that original bowl, all the way back there when we're talking about passion. That's what this is. This is passion pouring through. You know, digging through all this stuff. It wasn't easy. I get a ton of blowback and negativity about trying to challenge the win. Who is this new guy coming after our sport? Why are you coming after our tradition? Why don't you love fantasy baseball the way we do? Well, excuse me, I assure you that I do love it as much as anybody else. Now, I'm looking at my clock. It looks like we still have a few more minutes. And now the fun part, if you're paying attention to any of the excellent work that the boys at Pitcher List are doing, the graphics off the hook. So I was not going to show up to this gunfight with a knife. So everybody, I kind of went and I ran the leaderboards, and I went and I graphed it for you each year. Right now, you're looking at 2020. Okay, this is wins versus QS plus. That's your plus quality starts. I even got a nice, nifty little acronym for you there. Bing, bang, boom. Okay, wins versus quality starts. Let's take a look. This is sorted by quality starts in descending order. There are three ways I like to look at these charts. We're going to take a quick scan through all three. 2020 being the easiest because it has the least amount of data, and you'll see on the other ones it gets really, really small, but I wanted you to see it. So when we sort by quality starts plus, if you can see the mouse, all this up here, the green is the QS plus, the white are your wins. So anywhere that you see green without white, those are people who have been cheated. I call them cheats on the leaderboard, but those are people who have been cheated. Let's take a look, shall we? Who are your most cheated pitchers? I've got Shane Bieber. I've got Yu Darvish. I've got Lance Lynn. I've got Trevor Bauer and Zach Gallen. Those guys sound like they're pretty good, right? Those guys are pretty good. Let's go to the other end. I got Alex Young. I got Jordan Montgomery. I got Tanner Roark. Who else we got? I got Seth Lugo, Logan Webb. I got Brandon Bilak. Those guys are not as good. I mean, it's just a simple visual representation of how you're doing it wrong, okay? The green up here is waste, and all the white that hangs above are cheats. Let's scan over to one of the other years, the year before, 2019. Now, check out this bad boy. Look at this graph. And if we sort by plus, oh, you know what? I actually think I wrecked this one. But that's really okay because it was really just a visual too. You have to forgive me if you guys want. I was mentioning to Nick. I felt like maybe I built the skyscraper a little too fast. My chart got altered, but this chart is 1,000% correct. So this whole presentation is going to come out in article form with all these graphics at FTN Fantasy in the next couple of days. Once I just kind of smooth out a couple things. I mean, really, I was just burning the candle on both ends, just absolutely kind of going nuts trying to get this. But the visual representation for me says it all. Look at waste. You know what? I did mention I wanted to see a couple flips. Since we have another minute, let's look at that. So now we can look at it this way, where we could sort by wins. And you could just see it. Just look. It's awful. It's going to be all the same names, but now this is just a different representation. Going by wins kind of shifts the picture, right? It's going to spread out those to see the greatest discrepancies, right? Let's call it that, of, I was calling them cheats. You could just call it the difference. And now somebody like Zach Gallen, 9+ starts and 3 wins. I mean, I'm speechless. I'm speechless. It's a 300% difference. Listen, it's unacceptable. Okay, this is unacceptable. And if you disagree with what I've laid out, I would love to hear the objective argument. If you continue doing your own thing in the future without rebutting what I've gotten, without refuting what I've placed at you, then I don't know. I don't really know how to help you. My clock says I'm right on 9:45. I'm wondering if I should be looking at Nick to see if I'm going to get the hook. Nick, you could jump on in anytime. That's pretty much it.
This is amazing, John.
That's pretty much.
My God.
That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it for me for right now.
John. Okay. All right. I just want to say one thing. Your energy is infectious.
Thank you.
Oh man.
No, stop screaming. Look, I figured it out.
You did it. Look at you. Look at you go. No, this is
Nick, I'm so glad it is faceplant.
So actually, we do want to go back to that graph. You didn't faceplant. We knew you wouldn't faceplant.
What? I'm so upset, Nick. I could fix this. I screwed it up.
It's
man.
okay. Hey, don't wait. Hey, you didn't screw anything up. We want to go back to that first one because we're really curious who got all those wins without.
Hold on. You know what? Hold on. I'm fixing it right. I'm actually fixing it right now.
Okay, I want to tell you. All right, because I know you didn't see any of the comments because you were sharing your screen.
No. But I fixed everything.
I know.
You tell me.
Go ahead. Go ahead and fix it. I'm going to tell you some of the. I'm going to tell you the comments that you missed. Okay.
Okay.
We've got. Okay.
You want to read that one?
No. I had some. Okay, this is all the chaotic energy that I need. I love that one. I would run through a brick wall for this man. I mean, this is just so good. I hear the wow quality start plus to the moon. This was an amazing thing, man.
All right, let's get at these. You want to get at these graphs? I fixed it.
Yes.
Tell me that's not remarkable. So now, you know what? I have to share again. Don't I?
Fatty U22. I don't think that Yahoo, ESPN, CBS will do it. Unfortunately, we got to make our own fantasy league with blackjack and something else that I don't want to say on the stream. But you guys know the Futurama reference. That's all. Fantrax will do it? Really? All right, so you're sharing it. Make sure to get rid of that hide thing. Yeah.
Okay, hid. And now you see me again?
Yes. So so we want to know the guy on the far right. So I see a giant spark of wins and like one quality start there.
Okay. Yeah, let's go that. That was 2020. Right. So now this is all fixed. So if we sort by wins, this is what I was hoping to show you next. So this is by wins. This is 2019. You want to see 2020, right? So 2020 we sort by wins.
Yeah. Well, if you go back to that 2020 chart, there's someone. It was reverse, the first one you had.
Hold on, I had it. Yeah, I had it.
Okay, cool, great.
Okay.
So the one quality start group, there's someone with a ton of wins there.
Oh, yeah, Randy Dobnak.
Randy Dobnak, right? He only went 6-1 start.
Yeah, I got Randy Dobnak. I got Josh Fleming. We got Annabelle Sanchez, David Peterson.
David Peterson. That's a little shocking that it was. I kind of like David Peterson. It's kind of weird. He got hurt in midway through the year.
Well, same thing. I mean, 7-3.
Well,
Nick, I doubt you're really going by win. I doubt you're using too much.
No. I'm just messing around with that. But Miles makes a point. Oh no, R.I.P. the Dobnak hype train. Well, don't worry, there was no hype train because Dobnak wasn't gonna be in the starting rotation. So
yeah, I've been a Dobnak guy too. He throws that lead ball. I love that.
Yeah, the lead ball. That's right. I think Sammy Reed has the best joke that'll ever be made about Randy Dobnak. So how do you spell Dobnak? With 1 K.
Ouch. Now look at this, Nick. This is 2018. Yeah. This is 2018 sorted by wins.
Okay.
So the any hangout that you see, any overhang,
who's that one dude? One dude about 25% of the way there. Yeah, who is that?
Jacob DeGrom.
Of course it is.
Of course.
Why did I ever? I should have gone.
Yeah, how about this for you guys? So Nick, I also have all 3 years together. So look at this. I'm going to sort by. This is a list by year. By single year of the biggest amount of cheats per season.
Okay, let's go.
Here we go.
What we got? Serve me the goods, John.
Wow.
That's
Jacob
all I want.
DeGrom's 2018, Nick, it was he was cheated 16 times in one season.
Sounds about right. I
That's
mean, I
absurd.
think the stat I saw was opposing starters had a 2.34 ERA against him.
Yeah, I mean,
That's just
it's,
not
you know, you
fair.
look at this, and
Well, I mean, he's two of the top three.
yeah, right, and this is going back 4 years. It's over 15,000 starts, almost 16,000 starts.
This is amazing work, John. I gotta
Yeah,
say.
so this is, and then I formatted the single years. Last year, let's see, who was it last year? Sometimes it's easier to look at it this way too. Hey, look, Kyle Freeland. To that point, Nick, I've been loving Kyle Freeland in like these best ball and drafting hold kind of leagues because he goes out and does work on an individual basis, but the stain of cores.
Well, I mean, so Freeland when he was on the road was actually effective last year.
Yeah, he's good.
And I think he actually had decent matchups as well. There's some Arizona in there. There's some Giants in there, so on. So he was able to take advantage of that, fortunately. I don't know if he's ever going to get that command back from 2019, or 2018, I should say. But maybe. Hopefully that has happened. John, I'm proud of you for many reasons because the skyscraper certainly didn't fall, and we knew it wouldn't fall.
Dude,
but,
I live on a very, very shaky foundation.
I'm so proud of you because you got us to 3,000. You got us there.
Yes. Man, Nick, wait, can I go on you before you cut me off for a second or what?
Oh, go ahead, please.
Yeah. Right. I mean, listen, I was listening to how about this? You are a gift to all of us. You are a gift. You are God's gift to all of us.
Don't you dare do that right now, John.
You are a gift. I couldn't believe that. I was like,
are you you're not a hard G?
No. It's a gift.
Thank you.
You're
gift. John.
No, I know. I was listening to Eno, but I laughed out loud when you said, "I don't say I gave you a gift."
I've had this conversation so many times that I've got that ready in the chamber. Okay.
Yeah, a jit? No, it's not a jit. A git. It's not boys and girls.
I don't know. Yeah. You call me Eno, not Eno, and I thought that was a good. That's a good argument.
Oh, that Eno. He's something.
But here's the thing, guys. So I mean. Look, we're going to do this for 2 more days. And the crazy part is if you've enjoyed PitchCon so far, well, guess what? The next 2 days are going to have an extra hour attached. Tomorrow, we're going to do Spore's presentation. It's going to be at 9 o'clock. The Blind Commander draft is going to be at 10. So stay tuned for both of that. We're pushing it back another hour tomorrow. We're going to go until 11 on Sunday anyway. So here's the thing.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing at the Paul's baseball presentation. A baseball presentation by Paul Sporer. I laughed when I was reading that. I couldn't help it.
I can't wait for it, and we're happy to hear that Charlotte's doing all right. So that's why I had to reschedule. I had a great time with the PL staff doing that round table. But here's the thing, guys. We are behind, right? We were hoping the goal was to be at $5,000, to be at halfway to the $10,000 goal. That doesn't mean we can't get there, but I need your help with this. We got to get to that 10,000 goal. We got to get there. So hopefully we can start off strong tomorrow and go through the entire day. This is for a great cause. We were able to hit that 10,000 last year. We have all these fantastic prizes that we're giving away for you guys. We want to be able to get there. Help us raise that through the night today, through tomorrow, and of course on Sunday. Thank you all for your support thus far. We're 30% of the way there. We got some room to grow. I think we can get there. I believe in us. To the moon. Diamond hands, Dogecoin, what? No, okay, I'm not going to do that stuff. But
right, don't go there.
But I think that is going to wrap it up today. John, really, this was a fantastic presentation. I appreciate you.
You know what the funniest part was? I didn't actually get my final bow on this was, so if somebody were to kind of view this, they'd say, did this guy just take the regular quality start and get rid of 6 and 3? And the answer is yes. But if I did that, we wouldn't have had any fun, right? Or wrong?
No, exactly. 6 and 3 is stupid. It's not a quality start. 4.5 ERA. It's not very good.
4.5 ERA.
It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. But here's the thing. I appreciate you taking the time. This is one of the first presentations we had. We had one last year that wasn't an actual PowerPoint, and yours was smoother today than that. So it was good. No, that's what I'm saying. It was great. You pulled it off. I didn't know if you would. I tried. Know if you would.
I tried.
But no, John, that was amazing. And again, infectious infectious the entire time.
It's real. I love it. I'm like that 5 in the morning kid.
So guys, give John a follow at MLB Moving Average.
That's right. Thank you.
Listen to his podcast, Cork Stats.
Woo!
And yeah, we'll talk soon, John. Thanks for being
here. All right,
here.
Nick. Thanks so much, man. Take care.
All right.